How's it going, y'all? MetaGamesGX here, and we are here with a little bit different of a setup. We're doing a live deck profile today. So yeah, we're going to be doing a live Branded Despia Deck Profile. I recently went to a regional last week, or on Sunday, and it was the side deck regional. It ended up being a 140 something person regional. But yeah, it was like a 140 person regional. I took Branded, obviously. I was actually doing quite well up until like round 6. Right now I have been messing around with a new updated build that I really like. This is more or less kind of like a video slash stream to like kind of do some constructive just like thoughts on Branded, this format. Talk about it more in the competitive setting and just like what we can do going forward to make this deck a lot better. Given the fact that we do have the rest of this format to contend with, which is like 2 or 3 weeks, and then we have a new format. The new format isn't going to change everything. However, we're going to have to deal with a new every fire deck is going to get a revamp essentially. So those are things that we are going to have to contend with and change our build with, and we will talk about that today, and we will also talk about what you should be doing for the rest of this format, this short format in terms of Branded Despia. So yeah, this is a 49 card build, and I wanted to just go through the picks and like why I would kind of change up and just like my experiences, because I felt like it's actually a really good build. It has no hand traps in the main, so that's kind of like where I've been seeing a lot of Branded builds right now. And I will say that I probably see myself going towards more of a hand trap build with the next format. However, I think that this build with talents and thrust is really good anyways. I think this build's really good, frankly. I just like, you know, sometimes you don't win in Yu-Gi-Oh! And also, there's some additions I could have made to it for sure. Like, I think the side deck isn't perfect, which is like what I really want to talk about, but we're going to talk about the main two because there's a lot I would change. So we'll go with 3 Fallen of Albaz. Obviously the boy, not really much to say about that. He's really great going second, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in my video I'm releasing tomorrow on why you should be playing Branded this format. It's because, I mean, you have a really good, you don't need to even run non-engine for the most part because of Albaz. It's just like another, it's a super poly, you know, it's a very easy way to break a board in engine, which not a lot of decks have necessarily. So, and then 3 Aluber, and then 2 Quem, talk about the 2 Quem, and then 2 Cartesia. I think that 2 Quem is actually going to be my new standard from now on, no matter what build I run, because you just need it for the grind game. You're getting into far more grind games this format. Like, Konami's trying to design their card design around recursion instead of just making big boards that lock your opponent out. Hi, Gimmick Puppet. And Quem helps you play through hand traps. A lot of the time, it's way better than a Luber on an imperm. So if they imperm a Luber, it's usually a turn skip. If they imperm Quem, it's usually not, if that makes sense. Because she's live on your opponent's turn, at least. Like if you have something else in the graveyard. So she has a lot of value. She sticks around. I think 2 is really good because a lot of the time you use the 1 and then there's no way to get back the second unless you use Nadir Servant or Sanctifier, and you usually don't want to use the Sanctifier on this, and it's really nice because it makes Branded opening a lot more offensive, or of an offensive card, because you can set Branded open. It makes Branded opening a good set off of Albion because you obviously use this on your opponent's turn, go Quem, and then extend your plays further, which you can't do which you always go through a Quem on standard combo. So yeah, I will say if you want to be on the budget side, you could definitely just run like 1 or an ad lib, as I've said. But if you have the money to put into Branded, I would definitely say 2 is the way to go. I think Quem at 2 is really good and will start becoming standard, honestly. I've been seeing builds that run like 3 now with like high spirits. I think that's a very good build. And then we have 2 Albion the Shrouded Dragon, and then 1 Mercurier and 1 Tragedy. I think these are quite standard. I am on Allura Darkness. I think Allura Darkness is insanely free in a format where with no Drolls in the main deck. No one's maining Droll right now. If you're maining Droll, you're a clown. and I say that respectfully. I just don't think it's very good in the main, considering you have like Centurion, Rescue Ace, which is not always necessarily good against. I mean, it is pretty okay against them now with Airlifter. However, there's a lot of decks right now, including Labyrinth, which is like arguably the best deck right now, that does not care about Droll, and then Centurion is running around as well. 2 Albion because I like consistency. I would have ran 3 if I had the third. I just couldn't find my third for the regional. It's really unfortunate. So yeah, I would be running 3 if I did have the third. 3 Albion is just really good because it adds a lot of consistency to the deck, because especially when you're running a lure, because it's a dark, so you're always seeing a dark, you're always seeing a consistency piece, and when you're running multiple Quem plus Albion is full combo, so you gotta remember that a lot of the time. You need to use your Quem very effectively. That's how you really just like beat these grind games right now. Quem is just the ultimate grind game card, and that's why Konami, I think, designed her that way. She's very overloaded, but in the way she's overloaded isn't necessarily broken on its face. You really have to like figure it out and like get into the weeds with her. And I think this is one of the cards that helps that, on top of Branded High Spirits, which I am ironically not on this build, or today, or this build. Something I will consider later, because I saw Branded High Spirits build with Paw Prosperity, which looks really cool. So we'll talk about the 2 Bestials really quick. I'm not running Magnamut. I don't think you need to when Unchained and Tearlament aren't necessarily the top dogs right now. I think Unchained is quite bad right now. Like, you'll be able to get away with running the deck, but it's not that great. Like, you'll still be able to get tops, but it's like on the level of like something of Plunder Patrol right now. You're just gonna be really struggling if you run it. And shout out my boy Wheels too. I don't mean to just like we love Plunder Patrol out here. So yeah, and then Lubellion's just a crack card. So yeah, I was thinking about running 2 Saronir, but I don't think there's a necessary need to when there's not enough decks in the format. Yes, there's Orcus though, so hitting like the Harpour is so important. So let's talk about the non-branded, the honorary branded cards, essentially. Dark Magician, Dogmatica Maximus, and Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. We'll talk about Maximus first, because this is more of an engine card than either of these. You use this with Nadir Servant. We can just talk about Nadir Servant right now as well. Nadir Servant is a crazy card that I'm still on. A lot of people have told me to cut it. I'm just still on it because I'm running a big deck, so I'm running a 49 card deck, and I think I'm going to be upping my build to 60 cards in the future to fit in everything I need to, because I want to fit in hand traps, unlike this build. I did miss the hand traps, and I will definitely say that. And also I will say about the 6 Sam thing, I would love to get 6 Sam on the channel. So if anyone, honestly, I know, I'm going to try to get 6 Sam for sure. So Nadir Servant is really broken because it's a 1-card gimmick lock, essentially. So if you get Ash, it's a very easy way to play through Ash. It's also a really good way if you just break a board and then like play through a board, and like you can kind of set up Nadir Servant and then go there from a grind game. A lot of the time, this card just helps you get there, and it does a lot for the grind game right now. It's kind of like a shotgun of advantage that can help you, because right now this format's really a lot of 1-for-1s and just like making like generating advantage. It's crazy right now. It's actually like standardly good Yu-Gi-Oh. And this card helps you do that. It is a brick sometimes, but a lot of the time you can just pitch it, you know, and then get back off a Nadir Servant. Nadir Servant's very good. We just send Garura, get that draw 1. It's something I could see myself cutting. However, I will say it's something I could see myself cutting. It's something we'll have to reevaluate given the new format. For sure. I think that Nadir Servant is very good right now. However, with Bell and stuff like that, I think that the card might fall out of favor given our next format, but we will see, guys. So some people don't run Gimmick Puppet. Shout out to Dinkabooey for getting 4th at the German Open with a 54-card Branded Despia build that showed us that we could all be running the 60-card build. On top of our Boriyuri Diaz in the chat with the first place Branded Despia deck profile that we have on the channel. Check out if you haven't already. We can be running a lot of cards, and you don't necessarily need to be running this. That's the thing. You can top just well with or without this. I just think this is a better going first. So this is the best going first board in the whole game. So I think currently we should be running it. Yes, there are bells and crows, but if you're playing the deck correctly, we're running the Nadir servant, we're running the Dragoon. The fact that we can actually go get over this because we can search the Mercurier off the Lost, and then we can search the Mercurier off the Lost to out the Bell, to out the Crow. We also have the Dragoon. You should be making Dragoon. You know, when you see Nadir Servant plus Brand Fusion, that's a Dragoon plus Gimmick Lock. So Gimmick Puppet Nightmare I think is very good, but in a format with Ghost Bell and Bestial or a lot of Crows, I could see us not running this. But the fact that like Bestials are out of the format, like we're dealing with Bestials, a lot of Bestials at that. And now that they're gone, we're dealing with Bells and Crows. So it's like nothing changed, and Bells and Crows are way easier to out for the branded deck than Bestials, because Bestials, if you Mercurier a Bestial, it stays in their hand. If you Mercurier a DD Crow or Bell, it goes to the graveyard and they don't get it back. That's why it's way better to be dealing with Crows and Bells. So that's why I think the Goo Gaming guys were wrong when they said don't be running Gimmick Puppet with branded. Shout Goo Gaming, but I don't think they were correct on that. Then Dark Magician, I think that, I mean, and like I said, you don't need to run it. It's just player preference, how you want to build the deck. That's the thing. Dark Magician is very good. I think you should be running it if you are on the Gimmick Puppet. If you're not on the Gimmick Puppet, you do not need to run it, in my opinion. But I also think it's broken against Labyrinth. Like, Labyrinth can't do much against it. So I think it's a very good option at that, and that I think it's worth it to run. Also, if you hard make Dark Magician with Cartesia, which I'm on a build with 2 Cartesia, 2 Quem, so I'm usually seeing the Cartesia. I could hard make the Dragoon with Cartesia. They usually won't imperm the Cartesia and save it for something more important. Then you get the Dragoon out and they're like, oh shit, I should have impermed that, and then it's too late. So I think Dragoon is the best brick in the game, and then you run the Allure of Darknesses so that you can make it unbrick. That's why we run the Albions and the Allure. It's kind of like an engine, a dark engine, a really consistent dark engine. And then on top of that, the Allures like unbrick your hand with the Albazes and the Dark Magicians. Our regulars, we've been streaming a lot, and I've been, I really appreciate you guys who've been coming through, and we're gonna keep it up. We're gonna really appreciate everybody. We're trying to get the branded content, we're trying to spread the branded knowledge, try to take this deck to the higher levels, and make sure that we win an event. We're gonna take a lot of events this year. We're gonna push this deck to the highest that we can. I think this is the peak branded moment, honestly, until we get new support. We are currently at full power, basically, outside of Expulsion being banned. Expulsion was nuts, though. Expulsion, like, in retrospect, that card is just such a broken card. Like, make Brand Fusion a 1-card Gimmick Puppet. And now we have a Nadir Servant for the 1-card Gimmick Puppet. Super standard, 3, 1 opening, 1 loss, 1 red. I'm just not running the Brand High Spirits right now. It's okay. And also, shout out Yuri Diaz running the Branded High, the Blazing Branded King. I think that card's kind of neat. I think that card might have some implication because it's really good against Fire King. Also, Brand Banishment is really good right now. So I think Brand Banishment is something that we could definitely get to. Yo, we're at 28 viewers. Let's get to that 30 viewers, yo. Really appreciate all you branded beasts in the chat. So I got one brand loss. Brand loss is the most broken card ever. This card has an absurd amount of judge calls. I actually didn't get a judge call to this regional about it, which is really nice. Lab can use Ice Dragon Prison Typhon, which is effective versus Dragoon. Yes, that is. However, that's why you can play around it. Doing proper Lost Mercurier control with Mirror Jade on top of saving the Dragoon for the out. And then once they've Ice Dragon the Dragoon, what do they have at that point? Because they've invested a lot. So Ice Dragon's Prison is not the out they need. It's usually not. It's usually Daruma Cannon that is the thing you have to be worried about. Ice Dragon's Prison's fine. Like, if they get rid of the Dragoon, that's fine. You do other things. You're running Super Poly and Dragoon, which just covers every other deck. So I think Brand is a very good meta call right now. 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Gold Star, God cards. I could see myself cutting this because instead of playing into Droll, especially next format, I could see myself definitely cutting this. maybe even cutting this, but I like this because it's utility. I sent Gimmick Puppet a lot of times off of Foolish Burial at the event. So I can't find a Bestial Lubellion under $60, says Alex Vance. Are they $60 now? That's my bad. I did not know that. I thought they were 30s. Last time I checked, they were 25s. Julian, but still, they're still a cheaper deck because you only need one of them. And Money, you really don't have to run it. Money should release a branded fusion in quarter century. I agree. They released the Albaz in quarter century, but I do like the ulti. The ulti brand fusion is incredible. 3 Super Poly. This is the actual god card. This thing just, the amount of games I won, I think 3 or 4 of my games off of Super Poly alone. The set against Manadium, the set against Fire King, this card just put in so much work, and I also won set against Earth Machine because Super Poly just cleans up all those boards. Like, I think with Fire Kings getting Amble Whale and the Princess, that this card might become a little bit worse, but it still gets rid of 2 fire monsters. That's the point. Like, all their interruptions are going to be in the graveyard, I've been told. So, you know, it's something that we're going to have to be considering, but right now this is cleans up your lab matchup. It just trivializes all your rogue matchups. It's just so good. It also gets something in the graveyard when you need to sometimes to unbreak your hand. It's not bad. Lenny, I'm kind of scared of Konami limiting brand fusion after this format. I kind of agree, but like, we'll see about that. I think that it's a very safe pick until at least after Nats. I don't think they wouldn't put, because we got the big ban list for this format. The next ban list will not be as big as the last ban list. I guarantee that, guys. We got 25 things for the 25th quarter century celebration, so we are not going to get 25 things on the list. Brand fusion does not need to be on one of those. I think everybody's really liking the deck on top of Chimera too. They want to sell Chimera cards, which currently Branded Fusion carries that deck. So fusion deployment's really good. Obviously nothing really else to say. I think Super Poly though is something that we're going to have to keep under our radar to try to see what if we want to run that going forward. 3 Allure of Darkness. I think Allure of Darkness is nuts. Every time I saw it, I just went Infinite Plus. It's really good for seeing your non-engine too, so it's like a good going second card to dig for your deck and just see advantage. It also helps make your bigger deck feel less big because you're running 3 cards that that draw 2 and rip through your deck. So yeah, we have 3 Triple Tactics Thrust, 2 Triple Tactics Talents. I wish I was running 3 Talents, honestly. I feel like these cards are kind of insane right now because they're basically always live. This card's always live going second. This card's insane in this deck because it's live going first because you get the duplication off. Duplication, obviously, copying Branded Fusion. This is Bellable. This is like the worst it's been in a while because a lot of people are on Bell, so that is the thing. But some people don't even know you can Bell it. Some people think you have to Ash it. So that's just like another thing with Brand. People just don't know how to play against new Branded. I'm going to go over this in my next video tomorrow. How like there's so many different Branded builds now that people just don't know how to hand trap against Branded. I had someone save the Imperm against me. I just went to Sanctifier. And like the Imperm didn't matter, and I had like Branded lost at that point too. It was like crazy. Alex Vance, I double checked. I haven't looked since I gave up October, but yeah, I'm seeing a price drop on Bestial Lubellion 25-50 range. Yeah, what was your record, Lackwix? It was X2 by round 6, and then I could have played the last 2 rounds and tried to get my invite, but I decided not to. So because I already have my invite, so it was totally fine to do that. But yeah, so I think the Allure of Darknesses were really good. I did not see a single I genuinely did not see a single Droll and Lockbird, so that was really nice. So yeah, I could have just kept going. I just had such a headache at that point. Like, you guys know, I crashed after that. I was gonna do the tournament, but then just like, I don't know what it was, I just had such a headache. So yeah, we got the called by 2, but I still think Thrust is incredible, and I think that I would up these to 3 and go to a 60 card build because I think these cards are really insane. This card came up all day. It was always live. It's really good in a grind game too, and then like I said, Thrust is just like the card you want to see going second. It's just a god card. So yeah, that's the 49 card main deck, guys. Any questions on the main deck? I would definitely add Ash Blossoms, if anything. Ash Blossoms and Imperms are what I missed. You will see that I definitely put in hand traps. I think you need Ash and Imperm. you just can't not. You just can't not have Ashen Imperm right now, or else you just lose going second. And I lost my die roll all day. I only won one die roll. I still won that game. And I won that game, but I lost, you know, I lost the die roll of all the other games. So if you're playing behind like that, you really do need the interruptions like Ashen Blossom. So we'll go into the extra deck now. And really standard. You guys want to see how to do the one card gimmick lock without Bucephalus and Brigand. I know a lot of people in chat, so we can definitely do that after this, because this build does not run the one card gimmick lock with Brigand, but it still has a one card gimmick lock nevertheless. So we have the one Mirror Jade. Shout to Mirror Jade being still. Let's go over the Albaz Dragons. So we have one Mirror Jade, incredible card. You just win games off of this. A lot of people just don't know how to play this card. And you can loop this several times, especially with your double Quem. It just sucks when it gets banished, but that's why you also have the Dragoon as your next boss monster. You have like several layers. You can grind very well with this extra deck, even though it might be seeming like a skinny extra deck. I just think that the Super Poly and Nadir Servant targets you just need. 2 Albion, very standard. 1 Lubellion, we don't need more. 1 Rindrum. Rindrum, guys, this card is insane. This is your out for the Fire King matchup. Do you see, 1 Fallen of Albaz plus 1 Beast, Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast Monster. So every monster, coincidentally in the Fire King deck, are one of those types of monsters. So all I'm saying is, at least right now, Rindrum is currently a GOAT card against Fire King. You can make a KFC out of Fire Kings basically with this card, because you can super poly. It means Albaz is always live against that deck. Then you have 1 Titaniclad. I think Titaniclad you just kind of need in your pocket. It's like an out for like really silly decks. It's an out for Purrely as well. It's an out for, like I said, silly decks such as Dinomorphia. They can't do much about this card. And I love the Sanctifier. Shout our GOAT Sanctifier in the chat. This card changed the game. It's Branded Expulsion on wheels, and it can't even be super polyed or impermed. What else is there to say? This card should probably be banned one day, but we hope that doesn't happen. I'll take it being banned, though, if Brand Fusion never goes to 1. It's just a broken card. It's your evenly out, too. A lot of people side evenly against you, and then you're like, hi, I have Sanctifier. So this 1 Grand Guignol and 1 Lulu Wall Lilith. We got 2 more Starlights. Sanctifier Dog. Is that what you said? I can't tell. Or the Goat. I can't tell. Because I agree if it's the Goat. If you're saying it's a Dog Water, I would not. Or, oh yeah, you know, you said it's Go. Okay, cool. 1 Guignol. Let's check out the Starlight goodness of this card. Shout out Mr. Jeff for getting me this back in the day. Got to use this baby at Nats. It's honestly the best extender in the whole deck. You can send any level 6 or higher lighter dark from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and then you can banish this guy to special summon either one of these from your extra deck, or a Despian or a Dogmatica monster like Maximus, or because Quem always counts as a Dogmatica monster and a Despia monster if you did not already know that. Very important thing to know if you're going against Despia. Because it doesn't say in the name, but you can spec it off of this thing. I wish I could run 2 because it's a very good card. Very good card. You wish you had 2 a lot of the time. You just can't fit it right now, unfortunately. And then 1 Despian Aquarius. This card's incredible. You loop this card very easily with Quem a lot of the time. A lot of the decks can't even out this for some reason a lot of the time. And it also just puts a lot of pressure on your opponent if you loop it correctly. So, very goated card, would never cut it. And then you have 1 Despian Lulu Wall Lilith. This card is incredible right now. It's, honestly, this is why I want to keep running the Nadir package, because having this card in your pocket is incredible right now. Because it's really good in a grind game. I was playing against Goaty last night, which is a next format deck. Playing a bunch of games, and this card came up a lot of times where I'd just like hard make it with Maximus in a grind game. And this card actually is a really nice interruption because it's an effect negate when a card leaves the extra deck, which you can trigger yourself or when your opponent does something. So your opponent can't just like go to the deep beyond you and like field nuke you because this triggers. So it's very good. very, very good. And you send it off of the Nadir Servant to set up your one card gimmick lock or just like your end board. It's a very good card. No one's Stapelia. Stapelia is just a nutty card. This card in a simplified game state just wins games. Didn't really do a whole lot in my event, but it's just one of those cards I've cut and like I really regretted cutting, so we are back on that. And then we have one Dragoon. We love Dragoon, folks. What can we say? Dragoon is a one card. We need to get this card in Starlight. Unfortunately, I only have the secret rare right now, but what's up, Austin Highfield? Thanks for the subscription. Appreciate it, bro. Came in the chat and you showed up and you subscribed. Appreciate it. This card solves all of your matchups against Rescue Ace and Labyrinth. Also, Fire King can't out it. Fire King can't out it. They have to go into some really inadvertent stuff to out it. So just remember that, guys. This card's actually really good against Fire King. Even though like it destroys their stuff, they just can't out it, and which is why I like running it. A lot of decks can't run it or out it, and also I like running the Dark Magician instead of like a Duality or like a Hex Seal, because I think hard making it is really important with like decks. So I'm going to show you guys the board breakers. We have 2 Pankratops because now it's at 2, so we're running it at 2. In theory, this is a really good 2-for-1 card. It also gets rid of floodgates, really annoying floodgates that your opponent flips, but like it doesn't help you in a grind game though. It didn't come in at all also this weekend, so I don't know if I'm going to be running it going forward. I think I need something a little bit. I think I would prefer Cosmics. I miss Cosmics. That's the biggest change I would make in this deck. I lost my Fire King game against the guy who went first place because I didn't have Cosmic Cyclone. If I had Cosmic Cyclone, I would have won that game. It's okay, but like that's why we test, folks. That's what going to this regional was mainly about. It was just testing this format, limit testing Branded, seeing what's good and not. So yeah, 2 Pank was okay. I have 1 Dragoon. This is something I saw Dinkabui on. It's theoretically really good because you can go Brand Fusion for Shaddoll Dragon, and then you are able to out a back row or a floodgate of that nature. So it's pretty good just off the Brand Fusion. I think my issue is that it usually doesn't resolve. So I think I'm going to keep it up because it's like a fail-safe kind of thing. Alex Van says, do you have the mathematic way of testing hands or some method to find out best ratios? There is one. My friend Charlie showed me. I don't personally use it. I just go into yugioh Mega and shuffle hands. Like I shuffle a lot of hands. I shuffle a whole lot of hands. That's like usually what you just have to do when you're testing out different builds. Just shuffle them hands in like yugioh Mega or DB, and you'll get that done. Then we have 3 evenly. Evenly was pretty okay. I lost 1 game because of evenly. Like I probably, I mean, I don't know if I lost it because of evenly, but if it was like a different card, it wouldn't have. I probably would have won. So I don't know how I feel about evenly. I don't think you want to give your opponent a battle phase right now, because giving them a battle phase lets them just set up a lot. However, you do have the gimmick puppet, so if you keep the gimmick puppet in with the evenly, it's probably fine. That's something I have to test with. And then we have the 2 Dark Ruler no more. Dark Ruler was something I was actually quite favorable on before this event. It's something that I was testing a lot, and it was just very good. It was very good. I didn't see it against Vanadium, so that's probably... I think I will up this to 3. I think you kind of need this right now, because if I saw this against Vanadium, I would have won. And then in combination with Evenly is very good, so I think that upping this to 3 would be my next play. So it'd be like 3 Cosmic, 3 Dark Ruler, 3 of this. You definitely keep the Drolls though too. Droll is very good right now. I saw Droll against Vanadium. It was nice. I didn't see it that much more besides that, but I think you just need it against Vanadium. And it's very good going first against certain decks. It's also very good going second, obviously, against most of those combo pile decks. So, you know, leave your questions down below, folks, if you want to hear any Branded. We're going to be talking Branded just all tonight. What's up, Spiros? Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you. If you guys want to support the channel, there's always that TCG Player affiliate link you guys can bookmark and use for all your purchases. Supports the channel through a small kickback, and then also you could subscribe. Road to 3K subscribers. And then also, you can always super chat. But either way, really appreciate y'all just coming through most of all. So we also had the best side deck card, Ash Blossom. So this is why I feel like, also I forgot where, I can't find my other CR. I couldn't find my other CR in time. So I used my prismatic. I just still had in my binder that I used to run. This card was the best extra deck card, bar none. Bar none. Like, evenly was probably the second best extra deck card, but this card, and this was nothing. This didn't even come up. That was there for purrely. Didn't play purrely. Didn't do anything. I'm probably cutting it. I just don't want to get caught with my pants down against purrely, you know. Don't want them cats to fuck you up, kind of thing. 2.7k subs. Let's go. Let's go, Yuri. Yeah, so this card was incredible. Every time I saw it, I turn skip my opponent. What else is there to say? Don't you want to run a card that turn skips your opponent? Like, I do. That's why I run Gimmick Puppet. I think that this card is insane right now in the main deck. It's the best hand trap in the game. Do I need, like, it's always been the best hand trap. Like, this is not a news telling you guys this. However, I think it's news for brand players because I see a lot of brand players not running this. I saw the second place Rhode Island guy running 3 of this and 3 imperm. I think that's our way going forward. We just run the 3 best hand traps and call it a day, plus some board breakers in a like 60 or so card build. I think we need to start going 50 to 60 cards in our build. You can play smaller than that. You're just going to be playing a knife's edge game at that point, in my opinion. Just not seeing the Ash kind of thing. Because I saw that second place Rhode Island list. It's a good list. But he had no outs to Ash in the main deck. And I'm just like, man, if you get Ashed once, your end board is a Gwignaw. I don't know, man. I mean, going second's pretty good list. So yeah, that was the main inside, folks. I thought this deck was pretty good. I was okay with it. The only issues were the side deck things where I would put in Cosmics for sure, put another Dark Ruler because you just need more options against Vanadium. I would also say that Ghost Bells maybe would have been useful on the side for the Fire King matchup. And then the main deck we would put in Imperms, Ashes, and just up some more engine pieces basically.